Okay, let's try this. I just was making a video and it clunked out on me, so I'll start again. Let's see how we do here. This is this is Kim from Kim's basement, and making some videos on the Patch 2000 that I finally got up and going after many years of owning the Patch 2000 bass, which had on another little video clip. Patch 2000 bass, really beautiful instrument. That I got a bunch of years ago, and like a lot of people that have, there aren't a lot of people that have these, because it turns out that Hagstrom made 498 right-hand Patch 2000 guitars, Swede guitars. Apparently they made this was between 1976 and 79 was the production run. Apparently they made 11 left-hand models. And apparently they made 75 scan basses. Oh, I put my scan bass away. I don't have a scan Patch 2000, but I do have a scan bass. They made 75 scan basses with the Patch 2000 rig. And I'm not entirely, I can't find a number of how many Swede basses they made. I don't know if the wiki link on the Patch 2000, when they talk about the 498 Swedes, I don't think that includes the Swede basses. I think it's just the guitar. So there's this kind of unknown amount of Swede basses that they made. If anyone has the information, I'd love to know it. But in any case, I know there are not a whole lot of them. And there's no real indication of how many pedals they made. Maybe one for each. I don't know. It's hard to say, but I do know that the pedals are pretty hard to come by. And I did come by one. Let's see if I get a picture. You know, I got the... How do you do this? It's underneath the paper. And there's the pedal. I've got to learn how to point my... There's the pedal. I've got to hold the pedal up. Trying to do this without an iPhone, so... The pedal. The Patch 2000 pedal. And... which came in a nice... where'd I put it? I think they must have sold them in these nice flight cases, you know. So I have other links that were on this thing that shows me opening up the box and with everything in it. So I'm gonna this clip that I'm gonna do. I'm just gonna show you what the pedal is and how you hook it up. So the good news for me was I came down here and I hooked it up to see if I can get it operating, and it hooked right up. So when I first got this thing, and I haven't used it a lot, I'm just getting, I've had too much going on to get this done, so I'm trying to get these videos out for people that are interested. And today I came down and I had my cables and everything, opened it up, plugged it all in, and it worked immediately. So that's really good news. It's not that hard to hook this thing up if you have all the right cables and everything in place. So basically it's this, okay? Now I mentioned in another clip that there's, because the bass has, well, it has two hookups, and what's interesting about that is I have this thing hooked up and it's operating without the 1/4-inch cable going into the bass. You can hook up just a 1/4-inch cable to an amplifier and it'll play like a regular bass. But I've got the 7-pin DIN plug, DIN, whatever plug, in here, and now the thing operates just fine. And I'm playing it through. You need two channels, one for the synthesizer patch, one for the bass. So I happen to have it hooked up to two separate amps because I don't have an amp with me with two channels on board. So I've got the what do I have? I've got the pedal going into a Mesa Boogie and the synthesizer going into a Mark bass amp. Not that it matters, but, and here's how it hooks up. So the guitar cable, that 7-pin, goes into, let me turn this, goes into the 7-pin, and it says instrument, so that's pretty clear. And put that in. So there's the instrument in. Okay, this 1/4-inch cable says amp, and it goes into the amp. Pretty straightforward. So that's that. Power cord here. Power on/off switch here. And then these three plugs. And you've got on the bottom trigger, gate, and VCO, which is, oh, are we good? VCO is voltage control oscillator, is VCO. So VCO, gate, trigger. 1/4-inch mono, all of them, they got to be mono. And then, so these are going off to the synth. And I got this little Roland synth that I bought, and you know the original synth that was set up for this Steiner, I can't remember. It's on the video. You can't find them anymore, and the reason why, back in the 70s they were kind of rare because they were a synth without a keyboard on it, and so this is a synth without a keyboard on it, in mono, and it's just perfect for this application. You know, I suppose there were other ones, but you know, for $350 or whatever this was, it worked just fine. And on the back, the hookup, I'm stepping on the power cord. It looks a little messy, but this is going into the amp, so that's your output into the amp. And by the way, it's a 1/4-inch to mono with a little mono mini adapter going into, I wish I had my glasses on, output. You can also, by the way, I did this when I was checking out sounds in bed. You can put in a headphone unit and just fool around with the synth while you're going to sleep and not bothering your wife. That's what happened with me. And then the other inputs, gate to gate, and again they're all mono minis, gate to gate, the voltage control oscillator into CV, which is control voltage, and trigger out, and the power cord and the on-off switch, and everything's on, and so that and plugged into the amp, and that, you know, that's it. When you have the, I'm gonna end up parting with this unit just because I know there's somebody who's gonna want this rig for really creative recording. Either they, you know, buy the whole we're gonna have to buy the whole rig because I wouldn't part with this in pieces. I want to have this as a complete, or I'll keep it. I'm just not. After this video, I might get so into what this does that I might keep it, but I can't figure out how I would incorporate this in the bands that I play with, and I don't really. I haven't been doing. I'm a bass player. I mean, how much can you really do? This would be great to have this rig for a guitar player with a patch 2000 guitar. For bass, you know, there's a whole bunch of pedals that do really interesting things for bass. This might be way too complicated for a bass player. Hard to say. You know, when I saw Victor Wooten playing through his loop pedal, I had to go out and get the same loop pedal, which I do have. I can't play like Victor Wooten, that's for sure. But he might totally get into this rig. I don't know. I have a friend that has an audio company that knows Victor, and maybe he'll reach out to him and say, hey, you want to check out this Patch 2000? I doubt it. But you never know. Somebody's going to want this thing, for at least for a collector piece. I wish that the bass was a little bit cleaner. It's got one mark on it. It's got this mark on it right down at the bottom here. I don't know if you can see it. A little scratch in here, which is really kind of sad because other than that one scratch, the bass is pretty much flawless. Doesn't even have, you know, any buckle rash or anything, but it does have this one little zing here. You can kind of see. It's really too bad because otherwise this whole rig would be the pedal is like brand new. It's absolutely gorgeous, and the case is like new old stock, and so you know it's pretty close to, and the synth is brand new, so it's pretty close to an impeccable system. Okay, so I tell you what, I'm gonna publish this part and then come back and make another one where I turn the thing on. Okay, so that was the hookup component, and I like having little chunks, so you can see a little chunk and see another little chunk instead of sitting there for hours looking at me going blah 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 blah. Right. Okay. So we'll be back in a moment to fire the beast up. Okay.